Hi everybody, it's Patti, Rockstar Mom, and welcome back to my channel. And today, I think it's going to be one of the most fun videos that I have done in a long time. If you've been around YouTube for years in this beauty community, from the title, you probably know what this is about. But if you're sort of new to YouTube or to this beauty community here, you may not really understand what this is. Back in the day, we did these things called tags, and someone would come up with a list of questions, 15 or 20, and they could be on any subject basically, but they were usually, built around beauty. But the YouTuber, content creator, as we're called now, could answer those, and then you could tag other people to do them in particular, or you could just tag anyone to do them. And they were so much fun because you got to learn, or I did at least, so much more about that YouTuber, that content creator. Things that you probably could have never imagined. Well, how they really feel about things. So a couple of weeks ago, before my hospital stay, my friend Melissa, 55, many of you know Melissa, did this tag. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I would do it. And it was actually going to be the next video I did. And then the hospital thing happened, the kidney stone. If you haven't seen that video, I'll probably list it below. It was a wild and crazy week. But anyway, I'm going to do that video. I think it's, it's 15 questions. And I guarantee you, you're probably going to sit back and go, Patti, I would have never guessed that about you. Never. So hang on. But I do want to address my last video, the one on my health scare. When I decided to do that video, I did it off of the top of my head without any notes. And there were some important things that I probably failed to tell you. And actually, most of them I realized in editing, and I just sort of left it alone. But so many of you asked the same 2 or 3 questions, and that really and truly, that's pretty much all it is. So I thought after this video, when it's over, I will address those few questions. So if you saw that video and you have, some questions yourself, and they very likely would be the very same questions, I'm going to answer them for you right now. I am feeling really good. My energy level is still not where I would like for it to be, but we'll talk about that after this tag. So I want to thank Melissa for doing this tag. And Melissa was actually tagged, I think, I love this title, and I don't know this creator, and I'm going to go check her out. But it's Beauty is Ageless 55. So I will list her channel below in the description. I will also list Melissa's tag in the video so that you can go watch Melissa's answers also. So why don't we get started? I have the questions, and I have some things to show you that I'll be using to answer some of these questions. And let's see, I'll also be listing everything I have on my face today in the description box below the video in case you happen to be interested in anything. So why don't we just get started with the very first question? And I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. Some of them are going to be super simple to answer. It'll be a little short answer, but a couple of them might be a little bit in depth, because I may have to explain myself. Question number 1. If you could use only one high-end product for the next 5 years, and the rest must be affordable, which high-end product would you choose? You want to know something? It took me about 5 seconds to know exactly what my answer would be. And there's just, this is one of those that it's going to be just a bit of a story. And I just want to say that I would call myself a foundation junkie, maybe. I love foundations. I say that I'm not real sure if I've ever met a foundation I didn't like. And I think a big part of that is, I'm not even centered here. Let me hold up. Okay. Is that better? But I think a big part of that is because I have been doing makeup for what? Since I was in my teens. I mean, most of my life. I've been doing my makeup almost every single day. I know my face. I know my skin. I know my flaws. Not flaws. I know where I could use a little bit of improvement or enhancement. I just know my face. And I know that as I've aged, my face has changed a lot. It has, because I've done nothing to it. I have wrinkles and I have sagging, and I'm okay with that. But I can work with foundations, even if it's the wrong shade for me. I figured out how especially my everyday life, how to make foundations work for me. And I use a lot of different foundations. I review a lot of foundations. That's what my channel is about. But there is one foundation, high end, and it wouldn't matter if it were drugstore, that is my favorite all-time foundation. I can't even tell you how long ago. I'm saying 5 years ago. Wayne Goss. Many of you know Wayne Goss. You watch him faithfully, as I always have. Wayne was one of the very first YouTubers that I found before I started my channel. But Wayne, and I will tell you that if you know him, you know that he is also one of the most well-respected YouTubers here on YouTube. So Wayne came out with a makeup line. And I think it was just a few products, if I remember correctly, and one was a foundation. And I purchased it. I started using it. I don't think I ever reviewed it. It was pricey. I want to say it was in the $50 to $60 range. This is what it looks like. I still have it. I wear shade number 7. This foundation I treasure this. There was a lot going on with Wayne, and I think the people he worked with to get his makeup line out into the marketplace, and he decided to close it down. And when he did, I started trying to find this foundation and find it in my shade naturally. And I was on eBay. I was everywhere. I couldn't find it. All the normal places, I couldn't find it. As I said, even eBay. But I knew from the first time I used it, it was my favorite. So what I've done with this foundation is I make sure it's still good. Well, number one, listen, it's still good today. Every time I do use it, and I only use this for really special occasions, but every time I use it, I make sure that top is so secure that no air can get into it. And I mean, it has no scent to it, none whatsoever after all these years, but that's what it looks like. And you can see how much I have left. I'm pretty close to hitting the bottom. But he calls this the Luxury Cream Foundation. And I'm gonna save this. I know you're not supposed to, but I am going to save this and use it until the last little bit is gone. Now, I have some other foundations that I love that are a little bit high-end, and as a matter of fact, I'm wearing one today, pulled it out and put it on, and when you read below, you'll see what it is, but you do not know how many times I have left comments for Wayne please bring this back. Rumors are that he is coming out with another makeup line, and I have my fingers crossed that he will come back with this. I'm putting a picture up. I told you I only wear this for special occasions. I'm going to pop a picture up that was made a little over a year ago. It was made in May of 2025, last year. The picture is of me and Jim on our anniversary. And I'm wearing that makeup, this foundation. And I just love the way my skin looks. I mean, there is something about this that is different. By the way, something I forgot to tell you before I started these. When I saw Melissa did this, as I said, I knew immediately I was going to do this little tag. And in one of the questions, actually, something happened that very same day when I was out running errands. And you'll see the answer to that based on something that happened to me that day. Number 2, which beauty trends do you secretly hate but see everyone doing? I don't think a whole lot about beauty trends anymore because I just do my own thing. But there's a fashion trend that's been going on for the past few years, and it's a video trend. Let me put it that way. Not a fashion trend, but a video trend that has to do with fashion. And what it is, and to be honest with you, when it first started, I didn't go back and look, but I just may have done a video on it. I firmly believe that we get to look the way we want to look, whether it's our clothes, our hair, our makeup, our shoes, I don't care what it is, the houses we live in, our homes. Some of us are so much more fortunate than others, and we can have all of this stuff, and some of us can't. And every time, and this is now for the last probably 2 or 3 years, I've come so close to making a video on this, but about how I really feel about it. I absolutely despise the word frumpy. How not to be frumpy? I would venture to say if there is one video titled How Not to Be Frumpy here on YouTube, I bet there's hundreds, maybe even thousands. How not to be frumpy. Who's to decide what frumpy is? Could somebody decide this top is frumpy? But I like it. I hate it. I think it's degrading. And I know that the content creators who have made these videos don't see it that way. And maybe some of you don't see it that way. Maybe you think, I need some help with my fashion. And I don't want to be frumpy. And that's fine. Watch them. But to me, I just think it's sort of an insult. I say all the time in my videos where I do makeup that, there are no makeup police. There are some wonderful, highly trained estheticians and makeup artists here on YouTube. I mean, they do movies. I mean, TV shows. They have huge reputations. They're experts. But what they say is their opinion. It's not law. There are no makeup police. If they tell you if someone tells you you shouldn't wear eyeliner on your lower lash line, you can wear eyeliner on your lower lash line. You can do anything you want to do. You can rim those babies any way you want. So there are no makeup police. There are no fashion police. Can't believe anybody would stop you on the street and say, you look frumpy today. You need to do something about that. Not gonna happen. So that's that rant. Number 3, what's one makeup skincare tip you wish everyone knew? And again, it goes back to, I'm not a skincare expert or a makeup expert. I have no training. I don't know. I guess from the time I can remember anything, especially probably in my early 20s, Glamour magazine, Cosmopolitan were real popular, and it seems like there were 4 steps to skincare, and I want to say it was cleanse, tone, moisturize, and treat, maybe. I don't even think sunscreen was part of it back then. So, you know, maybe those still hold true. Add a little sunscreen if you believe in it. Number 4, have you ever given a product a positive review when you thought it was rubbish? All right. No. I have been here on YouTube for, you know, but listen, when I first started, we bought every single little thing that we used. We bought it with our own money, and we showed it to you, and we described it to a T. This is a black lipstick case. Oh, this is Revlon, and here's the order number, and the color is, and it's a swivel tube, and you hold it up, and oh, let me show you the color. And we educated you on that product. And then, all of a sudden, get this off of here, all of a sudden, some of these brands, they decide to start sending some of us a lipstick, maybe. And, of course, they would send us an email and say, we'd like to send you a lipstick, and you can review it or not. You can show it or not. And we were so excited to get something because we didn't have to pay for it that we would, listen, we just thought we educated you on this lipstick before. We made it into its own video. We told you everything there was to know about. And in the very beginning, for me, it was sort of fun. I made a little rule. You know, back then, listen, our viewers, they didn't like it, that something would be sent to us because they thought our opinion was biased. So right off the bat, I made a decision about me and my channel. And that was, if I would not spend the money on this to buy it for myself, then I would not accept it from a company to show. And to this day, that is my rule. And many times I've gotten something that I knew I already wanted to try and buy myself. But my rule was I had to be willing to buy it for myself. And then, and going back to those days, and again, some of you will remember, I got real upset, and I did actually do videos on this because all of a sudden, these companies they had sent us a $5 lipstick, and maybe they sent, let's just say they sent 100 people a $5 lipstick. And we're all holding it up, and all of our people who watched our videos were being educated on this. And all we had to show for it was a tube of lipstick. There is no telling how much those companies made off of those 100 tubes of lipstick that they sent to us. We all have different viewers. If we have 100 viewers, 1,000 viewers, 2,000, 5,000 viewers, what cheap advertising for them. And it made me mad. And I talked about it a lot, and I stopped accepting product. They still do it. They still do it. And some of you know that I do work with different brands. I work through an agency, and everything I do is something that I would use myself. And I do use myself. But by doing the brand deals for me, it's a way for me to offset expenses that come about from running a YouTube channel. And there are expenses, and there's a lot of them, and there are taxes, and there are things that most people have no idea that we have to spend money on to maintain our channels. So I will never ask you for money. I will never ask you for Patreon. I will never ask you to be a part of YouTube's membership program. And the reason I don't and won't to help offset is because I do a brand deal about once a month. No more than that anymore, once a month. And sometimes not even once a month. Okay, next question. And by the way, part of what I do with my brand deals, I just did ELF. Had I not liked anything that I chose to show you on that video, ELF would have been perfectly okay with me telling you I didn't like it and why. Number 5, what's the weirdest thing you've ever kept in your makeup bag? All right, now this question was a little bit misleading for me. For me personally, I don't see a makeup bag as something that I use at my vanity every day where I keep all my makeup. Listen, wouldn't hold it. But this is a little bag that's in my purse right now that I'm carrying every day. And it's just it has a lipstick, a couple of lipsticks, not much, a mirror. Remember these Sephora mirrors? So all of that, a lip gloss, but this is the weird thing. You never know when you might need a tape measure. That's a weird thing. Do you carry a weird something in your makeup bag? Tell us in the comment what you carry that's sort of weird in your makeup bag every day. That's going to be fun. Make sure and list that in the comment. Number 6, which makeup tool do you absolutely refuse to use? Well, I answered that, I think, in this last ELF video because I have never been a fan of beauty sponges. I've purchased them, I would try them, and they were just too much trouble. They're always dirty. It's like I can never get them clean. I never know if I get them clean. I've seen YouTubers cut them open and show what's on the inside of them, and ugh, I would just never. But I saw that beauty sponge that ELF has that you use to apply that skin tint. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to try that. You know, if ELF says you'll get a better application with this sponge, then that's what I want to do. I want to use the product the way the brand recommends. So I was sort of surprised that I like that sponge. And I've used it a couple of times since because I've used that skin tint a couple of times since. You probably are not going to see me using a beauty sponge. No. Number 7, which sort of comments annoy you the most? Well, you know, I don't get very many mean or rude comments. I think the very first one that I got, I did a video on it all those years ago because somebody called me an old grandma. And what they didn't understand when they called me an old grandma was that was a compliment. I always thought I would never be a grandmother, and I married Jim, and I was immediately a bonus grandmother, and now I have grandchildren of my own. Big mistake. It was a compliment. So I rarely have them. You know, sometimes people will ask a question that I've clearly answered in the video. They just didn't watch the video long enough to get that answer. So there's that. And I think in the early days, maybe that would bother me a little bit. I'd want to say, if you had watched the video long enough, you would have known. But I think that probably, if most YouTubers did this little tag, probably that would be a real common, because I have some YouTuber friends and we talk about these things, and I think that would be a common answer. But you know, I don't watch all of every video that I start either, so I'm guilty of the same thing. And also, I will say that if I get a really mean comment or rude, or it's degrading either to me or to one of you, I delete it immediately and I block that person. I can do that. And I have one of you, and I'm not going to mention a name, but when we were living over in Panama City Beach, she came there to vacation, and we had lunch and went shopping one afternoon. And so she did have access to my personal phone number. And every once in a blue moon, she will text me and say, just a heads up, you have a really rude, mean comment. And she's good at that. She'll let me know if I miss it, and I can go in and handle it. So I'm not going to respond to them. I'm just going to, as I said, delete the comment and then block that person from ever commenting under my videos again. Alrighty. I just feel like the comment section is for you. It's for me to learn about you. Number 8, do you ever feel pressure to always look perfect on camera? I think I did in the early days, but hey, look, where is it? What is this? What is this? I don't know. Look. Here, let me see if I can fix that. I don't know. I've got a clippy right here. Did that work? Nope. Oh well. There you go. That answered that question. Number 9. What step in your makeup skincare routine can you not skip under any circumstances? Okay, makeup, I just, you've seen enough of my get ready with me's, how that goes. But skincare, and I tell you what, I'm going to go on to question number 10, because number 10, in my instance, if I answer number 10, I answer number 9. What is the most asked question / most frequent comment in your comment section? I was confusing it with that other one. Okay, the most asked, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is what skincare do I use? And again, in the early days, I talked about skincare some. Not a lot. I've never talked about skincare a lot. And I know the reason is that I'm just not a skincare person. I cleanse my face, I do the things, but I think that the skincare industry, and this is going to be controversial, but the skincare industry is self-governed. The only ingredient product that is governed, I guess, is Retin-A, the tretinoid, Retin-A. And the reason for that is because it really does change the structure of your skin. If you ever used it, you know. If you've ever known anyone who used it, you know you could see it. The peeling, the burning. And also they will, if you put false advertising on your labeling, for instance, they may catch you. And there have been some instances, but you don't see it very often. It's almost like these brands, these skincare brands, can just tell you anything and convince you that you need that. And I always say, follow the money. Follow the money. Who is the expert? It'll trickle on down. I do believe we need to do something, and that I need to do something, and I'm speaking only for myself. Those steps that I talked about earlier, I try to incorporate those. I guess, I've never had any, I've just not done any cosmetic surgery or procedures to my face. I've not done Botox. I haven't done fillers. I always thought I would. Listen, you've heard me say all those years ago, I used to say I always knew I would have a facelift. I always knew it. And when the time came, I would have one. Didn't question it. I had a little savings account. I knew it was going to be expensive. And then when I got to that point, I'm going, do I really want to do this? And I've always looked exactly like my mother. And I wanted to see if I would age like my mother. And that was one of the reasons I didn't do it, probably the main reason. Because let me tell you something. If I'd done it, I would have done it right. I look at some of the content creators. There's some that have been on YouTube longer than I have. And I've watched the little tweaks and tuning and over the years, and you could go back and look at some of them at those videos when they first started and where they are now, how they look now, and they don't even look like the same people. They're beautiful. They've done it in such a way that they are so natural and they are so real. And I think if you met them in person, you wouldn't know. They did it right. And I think had I done any of that, I would have done it right too. Probably would have cost every dime I have to my name to keep it up. And I guess that maybe is another reason, is that I knew that I didn't know financially if I would be able to keep it up. And do I do this until I'm 75 and all of a sudden something happens, and I don't have the resources and I'm probably going to start looking pretty saggy and pretty wrinkly pretty fast. So that's why I just, yeah. I'll show you, but I will show you what I use. I brought it in here, and I've been doing this for years, and I have talked about this product, and many of you know. After I cleanse my face, it's the SKINN Divine Elixir Luminous Face Oil. I have been using this, I know, for 8 or 9 years maybe. I get it off of HSN. It's Dimitri James. I buy it when he runs specials on it. I think you can get this on Amazon now too. It's one of the new oils that is not greasy. It takes just a drop or two is all for my whole face, and what's left I put on my hands and arms, and I love it. I love it. This I use morning and night after I cleanse my face. It's the first thing I use, and this is a small bottle. It looks like there's a whole lot more in it than there is. I think this is just 1 ounce. And that's probably, if you read reviews on it, that's the biggest complaint, is that the bottle is deceiving. Although it says clearly, down here, how much is in there. We just naturally assume that there's a whole lot more than there is. So that, and then one other product. I don't use it every single day, but I use it 2 or 3 times a week when I feel like I need it. And after I cleanse my face, it's also by SKINN, Dimitri James, and it's one of what he calls his non-negotiables. And I bet many of you use this too. It's his Dermapeel. And this is microdermabrasion treatment. This has VC5 crystals plus beta-glucan. Basically, you apply a thin layer to wet skin, gently massage in circular motions for 1 to 2 minutes, concentrating on lined and hyperpigmented areas. Splash off with warm water, use twice per week. And it just takes off the dead skin cells on your face. And I used to use this more than I do, but as we age, our skin does get thinner, and I find that if I use it too much or use it too aggressively, my face will be red. I mean, you can actually get a friction burn. This is not like the, what is the brand that uses the apricot pits ground up. It's not that. These little micro beads in this actually dissolve. So I use that a couple of times a week. And I'm telling you, I use it in the morning, and my skin, when I use it, my skin feels like a baby's bottom. That's the best my skin ever looks, the very best. I'll list both of these. Now, this is his new one. I think he just came out with this improved version this past year, and it was a today's special, and I thought, oh, well, I'll try it. I still have quite a bit of where I bought it at a really good price, quite a bit of the original version of this that I can't tell a difference. So I will not repurchase this one. I'll continue to use the one that I already have. And I think it's probably cheaper. I'll list both of them. Those are the only two skincare products. And I'll use some kind of a moisturizer most days. But I found with this, I don't always need a moisturizer. There you go. That's my take on skincare. You do what you do. I know that a lot of us have found skincare lines that we swear by, and we would go down fighting for them. And I think that's awesome. You do it. You do it. Yes. Okay, next. Number 11, do you ever censor what you say about your personal life for your audience? I do. I'm very careful to talk about my health, especially. I'll tell you I've told you some things over the years, but I find that, number one, I don't want you worrying about me. But number two, I want us to be happy here. I want us to be happy. Makeup is fun. I want us to be happy. Fashion is fun. Hair is fun. I want us to have fun. But so that, I've been honest with you about my daughter being gay, and when she got married, and when she got divorced, when she had children. So, there's some things that I have shared with you that are, I think, super personal. Number 12, do you ever feel insecure about posting a video? Not anymore. Number 13, what is your biggest YouTube regret? Easy. Quick answer. Many of you know the story, but the reason I started my YouTube channel, I guess it's been about 15 years ago now, is because I found YouTube for something, and I know what it was. I had met Jim, and Jim was a big trout fisherman, and I like trout fishing, but I wanted to be an expert on it, so I went onto YouTube and watched some trout fishing videos, and over on that sidebar, a video popped up, and it was applying eyeshadow, and I clicked on it, and I was hooked. I was immediately hooked into the beauty community. And it didn't take long before I thought, there's no one my age. They're all young. They're all not just young. They're a lot younger. There are no 65-year-olds. There are no 66-year-olds. There are no 60-year-olds. Probably back then there were no 50-year-olds in this beauty community showing people how to apply eyeshadow. So I talked to Jim about it, and I talked to my daughter about it because she was savvy in these things, and that's why I started my channel. But going back even from that, and my regret is when I retired at 62, I was not married and still single, and I was very artsy craftsy. I was doing some things in the arts and crafts world. I had a Etsy store, and Jennifer one day said, "Mom, you need to be on YouTube. What you're doing, you could teach, and I think you would have a great audience." And when she first mentioned it to me, I had no idea what YouTube was. It was like, what? I don't even know what you're talking about. And she tried to explain it, and to be really honest with you, I never even went on my computer and looked at anything until I was looking for something on trout fishing, and I sort of remembered our conversation, and that's what got me on to even go to the YouTube site, was that. So I wish I'd gotten on. I may be in crafts today, who knows, and not, I might be painting, I might be, who knows, doing what, but might not be beauty, but I believe everything happens the way it's supposed to. But I think it would have been fun to have gotten on, because that truly was probably in that first year or so that YouTube was a thing. Number 14, and this is the question that I told you about that happened the other day. If people bumped into you in real life, what would surprise them most? So I have people bump into me all the time. I am so fortunate. This is Sue. I'm showing you Sue's picture. We met in the Circle K. And I was buying a lottery ticket. And then I thought, yeah, I'm going to go over to that machine and I'm going to buy a scratch off too. And by the way, Sue, it was a $20 ticket and it had two $10 wins on it. So I made my money back. But I was bent over to get the ticket after it had dropped down below in the bin, and I heard, "I know you," something like that, and it was Sue. So we chatted, and then I went out and got my phone out of the car. I'd forgotten it, and took our picture. But I've run into you everywhere. I have run into you, some of you, more than once, on cruise ships, in the middle of the Mediterranean, in the middle of the Caribbean. I have run into you in other cities where we've traveled. I have run into you. I used to run into people in Panama City Beach when we lived over there all the time. I've run into more people here in Pensacola than I have anywhere. And it's very common for me to run into someone here in Pensacola. And something funny that happened this past year is, it was before I broke up with my nail salon. My nail salon is in a strip center and it's sort of L-shaped, and the nail salon is down here, and you come down like this, and right in the corner there's a Marshall's, and then next to that there's a designer shoe warehouse, and then it's Fresh Market, and then Ulta, and then more. I think I'd had a pedicure. And I went in Marshall's. I was coming out of Marshall's. I was going to go into Fresh Market. And I saw this woman, and she is walking super fast, like she is in a major hurry to get somewhere. And so I sort of, she was coming straight toward me. And so I sort of, I was walking, and I just sort of stepped over to the side and continued to walk, like she was coming fast. And when she got right up next to me, she said, "I know you," and she just kept going as fast as she had been. And I said, "Thanks, hey," So, yeah, if you ever see me, I don't care where we are. And Jennifer, my daughter, and I were talking about that thing just the other day. We were talking about celebrities. I've had people call me a celebrity, and let me tell you something. I am not a celebrity. I am far from a celebrity. And we were talking about really what that means. And she said, "Well, Mama, I think what it is," and she likened it back to when her reality rocks business was going so strong, and she was working with real celebrities. She worked with all the different tiers, from the biggest of the big to the lesser known ones, but they were on TV shows, let's put it that way. And she said, "I think you, and probably your people who do what you do," she said, they're the kind of celebrity that if you're sitting in a restaurant having breakfast and they saw you sitting there, they would say hi to you. She said, "But you're not the Barbara Streisand of the world. Those people, I don't think you would ever approach." I wouldn't. I would not want to. I would think, "Oh no, I can't intrude. I can't intrude. I'm just this little." And they're this person that you really think is pretty awesome because of their talents. So yeah, I'm that person that you can speak to. I want you to, because I want to meet you. I probably want to meet you more than you want to meet me. And number 15, what's the most unflattering comment about your appearance that stuck with you? I forgot about this question. I don't know. I've had everything. Trust me. I have thick skin. And I think, again, it goes back to that thing where, there are some people who are just mean. They're just mean. You have to feel sorry for them. What kind of a life can they have if they can sit behind a computer screen and be mean to someone? I don't understand it, other than they're just miserable people. And I say a prayer and pray that whatever has happened in their lives, for them to make a comment like that that they're healed from it. That's it. Listen, I know that took longer than I thought it would. I haven't looked at my clock, so I don't know what time I started. But if you're still here and you want to hear a couple of answers to those questions about my health scare, let's do that right now, okay? And if you're leaving me, thank you so much. Thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Be kind. Be kind. Okay. Quick questions. All right. Okay. Sometimes in that video I mispronounced a word. Sometimes I pronounced it correctly, and I know the correct pronunciation, and it's just one of those words that just doesn't roll off of my tongue when I'm talking. I have to, if I stopped and thought about it, I would say it correctly every single time, but it's urethra. That's a hard word. Try saying it 3 times. Urethra. That's the tube that goes from your kidney to your bladder. Urethra. Urethra. All right. Some of you have asked for Jim's recipe for that baked potato, and if I did tell him, and we're not going to do a video on it, but what I did ask him to do was to give me sort of what he does, because I know he has done it so much. There's no real recipe. It's probably by taste, and if I can flag him down long enough, I will include it in the description bar here. Okay, do I still have the stone and the stent, or the stent? I still have both. And I was going to book it, I think it's outpatient, and I mean, it's not major surgery, it's in and out, but I couldn't book it last week because the urologist was on vacation, and also her scheduling nurse, and no one else is authorized to put anything on her schedule. So I'll get that. And some people, I've read that some people have those for days. Some people have those stents for weeks, months. Some people, because of whatever's going on with their kidneys, they may have them for the rest of their lives. So that will happen as soon as I can get scheduled. I'll let you know. I have had lithotripsy, and there's a couple of ways that they can blast these stones, and I have had lithotripsy in the past 2 times. I passed my very first kidney stone when I was 30, and a few years later I had lithotripsy for the first time. And back then what they did is they put you to sleep and they lowered you into a tank of water, and then they shot these ultrasound waves or sonic waves, and they blasted all those kidney stones that were in your kidneys, and you just peed them out. I didn't have a stent. I just peed them out. And then 20 years ago, you heard me reference that, I had a kidney stone that was the size of a quarter, and it didn't pop out of my kidney. It was so big. And kidney stones, if you don't know, they have little barbs all over them. They're microscopic. You can't really see them. But this kidney stone was trying to get out of my kidney, and it was literally chewing up the lining of my kidney, and that was what was causing the bleeding. And so I was put in had lithotripsy again. At that point, I had between 20 and 40 other stones in each kidney. And something about kidney stones, and this is my experience. I'm telling you guys my experience all these years. My experience is I've never had a stone hurt in my kidney. They've only hurt once they popped out of the kidney. That, But when I had the lithotripsy 20 years ago, I went in, again, this was first time I was in the hospital for probably a week, I can't remember, but this time it was just in and out the same day. But they put me to sleep, and they put me, I laid on a gel bed, and they shot the waves. I don't remember if it was what kind of waves it was, but they blasted all of those stones, and I did have a stent then for 2-3 weeks. I just peed everything out, and then it was removed, and it was removed in the office. And so, and again, I think people say, I don't have them, I've never had them. I'm glad. What you're really saying is you've never passed one, because I've never heard anyone say that they, and maybe they have, I'm not saying they haven't, but I've never heard of anyone that had them and they had the pain, the intense pain. I have never had them hurt in my kidney. And unless you've had a CAT scan or an MRI of your kidneys, you wouldn't know. You just wouldn't know whether or not you had them. Speaking, one last thing on that, I have no stones in my kidneys. That first little teensy one that I passed the week before at home, and this one that's still in my urethra are the only two. 20 years, the only two. That was the best news. Some of you talked about diet and don't eat spinach. Well, just stop eating spinach. Well, you know what? I don't eat spinach all day, every day. I eat a lot of salads, but you know, I just have moderate amounts of spinach. And isn't it funny that up until 20 years ago, I could have 20 to 40 stones in a kidney, and I was eating the same amounts of spinach as I've eaten for the past 20 years, and I had 2. So I'm not going to change my diet. I'm a very strict vegetarian. I did learn that they now know that kidney stones can be genetic. I learned that while I was in the hospital this time. And would you believe, on my birthday, I have a cousin who lives out in California, and he's my mother's sister's son, and he's about my age, and we talk from time to time. And in all these years, he has never said to me, I have kidney stones, or I pass a kidney stone. And he called for my birthday, and I told him what had happened, and he said, oh yeah, I have kidney stones. So, genetic. And I wrote really big down here, no stones. And if I have one, I'll have one. If I don't, I won't. And that's it. I hope that answers your questions. As I said, I have, since I was 30 years old and had my first one, I've been blessed with really, really good urologists. And I have always been very well taken care of. And when it comes to my kidney health and kidney stones, and I have ridden this horse before, and I may or may not pass another one. I may or may not grow another one. But I'm recovering very, very well. I actually have been driving the last couple of days, so I'm on the mend. Again, thank you so much. Thank you for all your concern and your care. I mean, I've read your comments from that video, and you're the best. You're the best. I've said that for so many years, and you just continue to prove me right. You prove me right. You're the best. You're the best group of subscribers and viewers here on YouTube. And I thank you, and I love you. I really do. All right, have a great one. Be kind, and I'll see you soon. Bye.